So guys, there's been a major update on the case of Aiyepeku Ayo, the young photographer whose life was allegedly cut short by Adebayo Pelumi and his body stuffed in a deep freezer which he placed in his vehicle and then fled the scene. At the time of making the initial report, the details were still sketchy and not much was known, but as the case developed over the next 48 hours, things have become clearer, and in this video, we will straighten out some of the details in the previous story and also give you the horrific major update in the case. The latest development in the case is that Adebayo Pelumi, the suspected killer of Ayo, who had been on the run since then, has finally been found, but not in the manner anyone would have expected. In case you are coming across this story for the very first time, here is a brief background on how we got here. So, around 7:30 p.m. on Tuesday, 22nd July 2025, Ayo, who was a photojournalist for a local online newspaper in Kogi State, Nigeria, was in his office with a colleague, editing pictures and video, when a man identified as Adebayo Pelumi came to call him. It has now been clarified that the compound where Ayo had his office belonged to Adebayo's in-laws. He had used the space in the compound to erect a poultry farm while also using some portion for cassava farming. According to reports, Adebayo took over the farm from his estranged wife, who had fled to Abuja about 2 months before this tragic incident. The wife had left him for safety after several instances of assault and domestic violence, thereby allowing Adebayo to take control of the farm on the premises. It has now been revealed that it was during one of his visits to the farm that he carried out the gruesome act. So, after Adebayo called Ayo, he told him that he needed help with something in his poultry farm. However, Adebayo had no idea that Ayo was not alone in the office at the time. It could be because it was late in the evening and the environment was probably dark. After Ayo had followed him to the farm, Adebayo reportedly struck him repeatedly with what has now been clarified to be a piece of wood, tragically ending his life at the spot. Now, contrary to the previous popular reports on major news agency websites and in our earlier video, it has now been clarified that Adebayo did not dismember Ayo's body after the gruesome attack. He simply lifted and stuffed him in a deep freezer he had brought with him to the farm. It is assumed that the freezer was inside the vehicle when he placed the body in it, because we can't imagine him lifting both the freezer and the body into the vehicle alone. Unfortunately for him, Ayo's colleague, who was also in the office, had seen him kill Ayo and also stuff the body into the freezer. To avoid getting attacked by Adebayo, the eyewitness had to lock himself inside the office and then initiate a distress call to someone outside. The person he called then reached out to the local government chairman, who subsequently got the vigilantes involved. They all made their way to the scene, but unfortunately, before they could arrive, Adebayo had already entered his vehicle and fled the scene. However, as the chairman and security personnel were being briefed on the situation, a white vehicle carrying a freezer was seen driving towards the compound. The eyewitness identified the vehicle to be the one driven by Adebayo and immediately began screaming for him to be stopped. Upon realizing that he had been sighted, Adebayo changed direction and fled again. He was engaged in a dangerous high-speed chase while other vigilante teams were alerted about the fleeing suspect. At some point, Adebayo was said to have stopped and tried to offload the freezer he had stuffed Ayo's body into. But after sighting a vigilante team heading his way, he quickly jumped back into his vehicle and continued the reckless driving. As the chase continued, Adebayo was said to have intentionally allowed a trailer to hit the back of his own car, thereby causing confusion that allowed him to flee into the dark, thick bushes. The vigilante team searched for him, but after every effort to find him that night proved abortive, the chairman ordered that his abandoned vehicle and the now empty freezer be taken to the police station in Lokoja, where the eyewitness was also made to file a formal complaint. The state governor issued a 73-hour ultimatum to fish out Adebayo Pelumi, which led to the tightening of security around the town beyond normal. Nevertheless, Adebayo eventually left the bush and checked into a guest house on the afternoon of the next day, which was Wednesday. However, by the afternoon of the following day, being Thursday, a hotel staff member went to carry out a routine check on their guests regarding their stay renewal. On getting to Adebayo's room, the staff knocked repeatedly, but there was no response. The staff then turned to the window and peeped into the room, only to find something deeply concerning. The discovery was reported to the hotel management, who then alerted the police. After the police arrived, the room was forced open and Adebayo was found lying unresponsive on the floor. The police found a bottle of sniper insecticide, a bottle of coke, and a packet of biscuits on the table. It then became clear to them that Adebayo had unalived himself. Adebayo reportedly left behind a final note requesting that what he did be kept a secret from his son. He blamed his actions on impulse control disorder, a form of psychiatric disorder characterized by the inability to resist a temptation, an urge, or an impulse. His body was evacuated from the room and taken to a federal medical center where it was deposited in the mortuary, pending further investigation. While this may have technically ended the manhunt for Adebayo, as earlier ordered by the state governor, there are still some concerning issues left to be ironed out. First of all, Ayo's body is yet to be found, and with Adebayo gone, it is likely going to be even more difficult to locate it. There is also a concern regarding why Adebayo returned to the crime scene that night. Based on reports, he didn't live in the compound where Ayo had his office. The area where this event took place was a government-reserved area, which is often home to the elite and other well-to-do individuals. An area like this is known for being quiet and serene, with occupants often minding their own business. So, if he didn't live there, why would he return to the crime scene? Knowing that he had been seen by an eyewitness, the timing of his return may give us a clue about his intention for doing so. According to reports, the timing between when Adebayo committed the act and when he returned to the compound with the empty freezer was within 30 minutes. The questions now are, could it be that he came back to clean up the crime scene and hide any available evidence, or, more disturbingly, to try and eliminate the only living witness to his crime? Also, why did he return with an empty freezer? Could it have been to replicate the same fate Ayo had suffered on the eyewitness? Right now, nobody knows where Ayo's body is. In most cases of this nature, the victims end up getting buried in a shallow grave, but judging from the fact that it only took him less than 30 minutes to return to the crime scene after disposing of the body, it is highly unlikely that he had buried him within that short time frame, not unless he had already dug the shallow grave before carrying out the attack. But then, why would he do that? The dominant speculation is that he had sold Ayo's body to some human parts dealers, but as things stand, this remains a speculation, and until the police conduct a thorough investigation and eventually come out with something concrete, we may never truly know what happened to Ayo after leaving the compound in a freezer. In light of this, the police would have to go through Adebayo's call logs to know the people he communicated with before and after the crime had been committed. If he were involved in any kind of shady business, this could be the key to unraveling all the key players and hopefully finding Ayo's body. It also appears as though Adebayo felt no remorse about his actions. If he had the time to leave a note requesting that what he had done be hidden from his son, which by the way is impossible in this internet age, he should have also felt the need to apologize to Ayo's family about his actions and also give them the location to where Ayo's body could be found. But unfortunately, he never considered doing any of that. Now, the family is left to deal with the agonizing uncertainty surrounding the fate of their son. The case remains under active investigation as the police work hard to recover Ayo's body, be it dead or alive, so as to provide some form of closure to his family. As more information emerges, you will be promptly updated, so make sure to like, share, and subscribe to this channel so that you don't miss out on any future updates in this case.